how to get whatever you want. Here's what it says if you're ready. It says, ask, that's it. End of notes. Ask. If there's one art in life to learn extremely well, that's got to be one of them. The art of asking. What does ask mean? Ask means, what do you want? And the formula is staggering. It says ask and what? A guy ought to look into that.
Imagine that you were taking care of yourself like you were someone you actually cared for. And then you thought, okay, I'm caring for this person. I would like things to go as well for them as possible. What would their life have to be like in order for that to be the case? Well, my experience with people has been is if they figure out what it is that would be good for them, and then they aim at it, then they get it. And it's strange because they don't it's a strange thing. It's not quite that simple because you may formulate an idea about what would be good for you, and then you take 10 steps towards that and you find out that your formulation was a bit off, and so you have to reformulate your goal. So you're kind of going like this as you move towards the goal. But a huge part of the reason that people fail is because they don't ever set up the criteria for success. And so since success is a very narrow line and very unlikely, the probability that you're going to stumble on it randomly is zero. Zero. And so there's a proposition here, and the proposition is, if you actually want something, you can have it. Well, what do you mean by actually want? And the answer is that you reorient your life in every possible way to make the probability that that will occur as certain as possible. And that's a sacrificial idea. And maybe all you have to do to get it is ask. But asking isn't a whim or today's wish. It's like you have to be deadly serious about it.
Any human being who can be definite in his aims and plans can make life hand over whatever is wanted. What does that mean? Definite of plans, definite in his aims. Okay, Napoleon Hill called it a chief definite purpose. What it means is that in your life, right, you have an aim, you have a target, you have a North Star that you are moving towards, you are operating towards, you are busting your ass to get. And when you have that, everything else is just distraction, right? Everything else is just noise. Most people don't have that, do they? Right? Most people are what Napoleon Hill in this book calls are drifters. They just drift in and out through life. They're like leaves in the wind. They never settle. They never, and I don't mean settle like they settle for shit. I mean they never settle on a purpose and then dominate that motherfucking shit. And because they don't have this chief aim, this definite purpose, anything distracts them. Every successful person on the planet who has a chief definite aim, they're not immune to the dabbling. They're not immune to the distractions. They get invited to things that sound interesting that don't serve their chief definite aim. They want to go. They're no different than you. The only difference is that they have made a commitment. They have made a decision. What's a decision really mean? If you look up the Latin meaning, it means when you have cut off the possibility of anything else. You are all in on this. You've made a decision. Another key word he talks about in Outwitting the Devil a lot is being self-determined. What does a self-determined person do? They have a chief definite aim that they've determined for themselves.
Sit on your bed one day and ask yourself, what remarkably stupid things am I doing on a regular basis to absolutely screw up my life? And if you actually ask that question, but you have to want to know the answer, right? Because that's actually what asking the question means. It doesn't mean just mouthing the words. It means you have to decide that you want to know. You'll figure that's out so fast it'll make your hair curl. Jung thought about this. He thought that people had two poles of consciousness, and one was the individual consciousness that we each identify with, and the other was something he called the self, and the self is you might think about it as the divine within. That's close enough approximation. It's the universal part of your consciousness. It's your conscience. That's another way of thinking about it. Whatever your conscience is. But it's something that you can consult. It's like the Socratic daemon. Socrates said that the thing that made him different than everyone else in Greece was that he consulted his daemon, his genius. He asked himself how it was that he should conduct himself in the world, and then he did that, whatever it was. He didn't try to force a solution, you know, he didn't try to force a solution selfishly. He asked, I'm going to manifest myself in the best possible manner in the world. I would like to do that. What would that be? Well, you're perfectly capable of thinking. God only knows how. You're perfectly capable of immense feats of imagination and dream and fantasy. It's God only knows how you do all of that. What would happen if you consulted yourself about the best possible outcome for you? You might get an answer. Well, that's what this proposition is.